Today I'd like to welcome you guys to the Black Hills of Reptile Gardens. Today I'm going to be doing the snake show for you guys. Now, before we start with the snake show, I usually do like to point out a few attractions we have here at the Reptile Gardens, especially if you've never been here before. So, first of all, right over here is our prairie dog town. Right behind this building is going to be our giant tortoise yard. We have Aldabra tortoises. They're the second largest species of tortoise in the world. Behind that is Cheyenne, our bald eagle. And directly down this sidewalk is going to be our Tortuga Falls. It's a pond and a garden area, and our kookaburras are over there as well. Right back down this sidewalk is going to be our Gator Arena. Our next Gator show is at 3:30. And then directly past that is going to be our Avian Avenue, where a lot of our birds are. Also, don't forget to see all the exhibits in the dome. There are 3 areas in the dome: upstairs, downstairs, and the safari room on the inside. The upstairs has almost all our snakes. A lot of them are venomous. There's some monitor lizards up there as well. Lower ring has a lot of crocodilians. Towards the end of the lower ring, you're going to see some of our amphibians, frogs, toads, salamanders. And then at the very end of our lower ring is going to be our invertebrates, or our bugs. If you don't like bugs, walk right past them. If you don't like bugs, frogs, lizards, turtles, snakes, tortoises, alligators, crocodiles, any of them, you can just go inside the safari room and you can look at flowers for the rest of the day. There's plenty of cool flowers in there, tropical plants. There are a bunch of free-roaming lizards in the safari room. However, they hardly ever even come onto that green path that you follow, so you should be fine. Then there's one snake that is not in a cage. It is on a branch about this high and only falls from that branch like 3 times a day. So you should be fine. Now, we'll get right on into the show, talk to you a little bit about reptiles, specifically snakes. Snakes are reptiles. They are also vertebrate creatures. Means they have a spine or a backbone just like we do. They also have lungs and a heart, breathe air just like we do, but unlike us, they're cold-blooded. This means their body temperature is the same as that of their surroundings. There's 5 main types of reptiles living today. The first 2 types are most familiar. They're the snakes and the lizards. They belong to the order Squamata. The third group is the crocodilians, which the alligators, crocodiles, caiman, and gharials belong to. The fourth group is the testudinates, so turtles, tortoises, and terrapins. And then the final group is the order Sphenodontia. There's one animal in it. It is called a tuatara. It is a very rare animal. They're only found on some small islands in New Zealand. Tuatara is a very rare animal. It's actually pretty cool. They have a third eye right on the top of their head. It's called a parietal eye. No one really knows what it does. It's actually pretty useless. So we don't really know why they have it. But anyways, I'll stop talking. I'll just bring out a snake, because I know that's what everyone wants to see. But before I bring out the first snake, I usually like to ask 2 questions. The first one is, how many of you actually like snakes? Okay, great. So like all the kids, 5 adults. Okay, perfect. Now, the more important question. How many of you absolutely hate snakes? You're terrified of them? Raise your hand. Oh, perfect. Plenty of volunteers for this show. Perfect. All right, so first snake I'm going to bring out. It's right in this box. It is a relatively harmless variety of snake. I say relatively, it's bit me last show. It's probably going to bite me again. I hate this snake. But again, it's completely harmless, not venomous at all. It's just going to bleed a lot. If he does get me, and sometimes I just get tired of fighting with him, I'll just let him bite me. So we'll see what happens. Now, this snake is called a yellow-tailed cribo. They're called yellow-tailed cribo because they got that yellow tail right there. Now, to those unfamiliar with snakes, snakes often appear cold and slimy. He is a reptile. It means he's cold-blooded. It doesn't mean that he's always cold. It just means he's the same temperature as his surroundings. Now, as to his being slimy, there's really no reason for a snake to be slimy, so they aren't. Some snakes like this cribo have these smooth, shiny scales that at a distance appear slimy. Other snakes actually have large ridges on the center of each one of their scales, makes them feel more abrasive to the touch. Probably the best way for you guys to find out what a snake actually feels like is to come on up after the show and actually pet one.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, it is not going to be this snake. Now, you guys notice what he's doing with his tongue right there? What is he doing? Exactly, it means he wants to kill you. No, the tongues of snakes and many lizards pick up particles in the air, bring them inside their mouths to a specialized organ in their upper jaw known as the Jacobson's organ. Snake's sense of smell is probably its single most important sense. As a rule, they rely on that sense over almost any other, especially when it comes to identifying food. Now, this animal eats similar to many snakes, but unsimilar to a lot of other animals, and that is if it sees what it wants to eat, it is going to grab it and it is going to proceed to swallow it. It does not care if it is alive or dead, it is just going to eat it. Eating something like that is of course going to ensure a fresh meal. It does have its drawbacks though. The creature being eaten is going to object to being swallowed, possibly violently so. That could hurt, that could also kill the snake. It's a lot safer, much more convenient for the snake to kill what it intends to eat before it tries to swallow it. At least most snakes do seem to feel that way. Alright, get back in the box. Okay. Now, there we go. I hate my job. Okay. Who's ready to see a cute little snake? Yeah, me too. Okay. Alright, so when I bring this snake out, most people think of a boa constrictor. However, this is actually a Burmese python. For a Burmese python, this is a small snake. Burmese pythons can get about 20 feet long, weigh about 200 pounds. So, small Burmese python. Now, even though boa constrictors and Burmese pythons are fairly large as far as snakes go, a 20-foot long, 200-pound snake, very large, it's not even one of the true giants of the snake world. The true giants of the snake world are the green anaconda, which can grow up to 25 feet long and weigh in excess of 300 or even 400 pounds, and the reticulated python, which is found in southeastern Asia. That is the longest snake in the world. That snake can reach up to 30 feet in length. Now, as I said, this is a Burmese python. This is actually an albino Burmese python. They are found in southeastern Asia. They're invasive down in Florida. They're not venomous, and they use constriction to kill their prey. They have to strike and bite at what they want to eat first in order to grab a hold of it. And then they quickly throw coils around that prey animal. That happens very fast, like a blur. Then, of course, they instantly begin to squeeze. Everyone knows they squeeze very hard. But what a lot of people don't realize is they don't crush their prey to death like you often assume. No, they don't even necessarily suffocate their prey to death either. Of course, both can happen, but what a lot of times happens is this snake is squeezing that prey animal's chest cavity so tightly that there becomes no longer any more room in the prey animal's chest cavity for the prey animal's heart to continue beating. So it stops beating. You can imagine once the heart stops, the prey animal rapidly dies after that. Once the prey animal's dead, it's got to eat. Everything's got to eat, including the snake. But snake doesn't have a couple things that we have that would be helpful in eating. That is appendages, arms, hands, fingers. They can't shove their face full of food like we all do. So what this snake has to do, what every snake has to do, is they have to swallow everything whole. It's not a big deal for a snake. Snakes have a couple adaptations that help them do that. First of all, snakes' teeth are kind of curved towards the back of their throat like fish hooks. It allows them to swallow the prey more easily without it coming back out. And then also, snakes don't have a chin. That means their bottom two jawbones are not connected to each other. The only limits how wide a snake can open its mouth. Simply the limit the skin can stretch. Since snake's skin is very elastic, a typical snake can swallow prey several times its own diameter. Constriction is, of course, a very efficient means of killing something. It actually causes one of the fastest deaths for a prey animal, but it has the same drawback that the Cribo does, and that if it's eating something that's still alive, it's going to fight back. Oh, the sunburn hurts. It's going to put the snake in danger. So it's a lot more efficient to just use venom to kill something. You guys are going to notice the rest of the snakes I'm handling today, use snake up. Since the rest of the snakes are venomous, the venomous snakes can be divided into three basic groups. First group I'll talk about are known as the rear-fanged snakes. They're called that because they have the fangs in the back of their mouth and the rear of their mouth. Now this snake I'm going to bring out, move your head, move your head, give me your tail. Give me your tail, there we go. This snake I'm going to bring out is known as a mangrove snake. This is a rear-fanged venomous snake. Now, rear-fanged snakes cannot truly inject their venom into their prey. Instead, They have enlarged teeth at the back of their mouths with channels and grooves in it. They have to bite their prey, chew it, working towards the rear of their mouth where their fangs are located, and then they just have to keep holding on to it long enough for their venom to run from their glands down through the channels and grooves in their enlarged teeth and into their prey animal's wound. It's pretty easy to imagine how this system evolved over time when you realize that even the deadliest forms of venom are just a modified form of saliva. Not only does the snake's saliva aid in killing its prey, it also aids in digesting it. So, we think that venomous snakes develop channels and grooves in their teeth in order to more efficiently allow their saliva to flow into their prey for more efficient digestion. Eventually, their saliva developed all the toxins, enzymes, proteins, whatever it is in their venom that we know as venom today. Now, because a rear fang snake's pretty inefficient means of injecting venom, it's a pretty slow process. Sometimes they'll bite and they don't even inject venom at all. A lot of rear fang snakes will employ constriction to kill their prey, and it's not really killing it, it's just to hold on to the prey animal long enough for their venom to actually get into the prey animal's wound. And the vast majority of rear fang snakes are pretty harmless creatures besides human beings, so he didn't really see me freaking out much when he got pretty close to my hands. If I get bit, it wouldn't be fun, but I'm not going to die from this snake. There are a couple of rear fang venomous snakes though that I would never want to be bit by. They have killed people before. Both of them are found in Africa. One of them is the African savanna vine snake and has killed someone before. And then the other is the boomslang. The boomslang is the most toxic snake on the entire continent of Africa. That means it is more toxic than all of the mamba species, including the black mamba. You do not want to get bit by a boomslang. If you're bit by a boomslang, you're going to bleed out of every orifice in your body for like 48 hours until you either get better or die. So, don't get bit by a boomslang. Luckily for me, this snake is nothing like a boomslang. Now, even more efficient than the rear fang snakes, means of injecting venom, can be found in the front fang snakes, which are divided into two groups. The first group we'll talk about are known as the elapids. That includes the cobras, coral snakes, mambas, and taipans, and your typical elapid. Their fangs are the very front of their mouth. They are stuck fixed where even the slightest nip from that snake will embed those fangs. Instead of simple channels or grooves, their teeth, their fangs are hollow tubes connected to a venom duct gland, a muscle right above that gland in their head, compresses it and enables their fangs to function similar to hypodermic needles, where their venom actually goes through their fangs. This means elapids just have to bite their prey, inject their venom, and the deed's done. It's a lot more efficient than the rear fang snakes. But even more efficient than the elapids venom systems can be found in the vipers of the world. This viper I'm going to bring out is very common in the southeastern part of the United States. Many of you have probably seen it before, probably heard of it definitely. This is cottonmouth. It's also known as a water moccasin. It's a viper. Like all vipers, it has very long fangs in the front of its mouth. They're so long, in fact, that they were stuck fixed like the elapids I was just talking about. It actually stick right through their bottom jaw. So, viper fangs are foldable. They're hinged. They fold onto the roof of their mouth when they do not use them. When they do use them, they can stick straight out in front of them. Vipers also have the ability to open their mouth up to almost 180 degrees. That means that those hinged fangs can stick directly out in front of them when they strike. That means this snake doesn't even have to actually physically bite anything. Just has to strike at it, open mouth, fangs out. If you make any contact with it at all, their fangs are very sharp. Their venom is almost always instantly injected, and then they just have to sit back and wait for whatever it is to succumb to their venom. It's definitely the maximum amount of efficiency combined with the minimum amount of risk for the snake. This snake belongs to a special group of snakes known as the pit vipers. Pit vipers have a small heat-seeking pit between their eyes and their nostrils. This pit is very sensitive to temperature changes. They can detect hundreds of the degree difference in the air temperature around them. They use this sense to actively locate and strike at warm-blooded prey. They're very good at it. Now, one of the most frequently asked questions we get asked when we're handling venomous snakes is which snake is the deadliest? To be honest with you guys, I don't really know. I don't know what your definition for the deadliest snake is. Usually people have two definitions for the deadliest snake. That is the snake with the most toxic venom, or the snake that actually bites and then kills the most people each year. These snakes are very different from each other. If you think that the deadliest snake is the snake that has the most toxic venom, then that snake is the inland taipan. 1 milligram of that snake's venom is all it takes for you to die. It's like if you took an M&M, cut that M&M up into 1,000 equally sized pieces. One of those little pieces, it's all it takes, you're gone. And every time they bite, they can inject up to 100 milligrams into something. So you could look at that like one bite from that snake could kill 100 men. You would not be wrong to assume that. However, luckily for everyone here, they're only found in one place in the entire world. It is remote, central, guess where? Australia. Where else would it be? So we're pretty good here. But if you think that the deadliest snake is a snake that actually bites and then kills most people each year, it's going to be a lot more fun to show you that snake. Now, there's a big debate on which snake this actually could be. There's about 4 snakes that are in the running for that, and it really changes every year. But those 4 snakes are responsible for somewhere around 60,000 to 100,000 deaths every year. If you think that that is the deadliest snake, you're thinking of one of those snakes. They're all very commonly found in this place in the world that is very densely populated, where a lot of people go barefoot in shorts, hot, and medical attention is not really readily available. You've definitely seen this snake before. If you haven't seen it in person, like at a zoo, you've definitely seen it on the internet or TV, movies, stuff like that. Especially if you've seen the Indiana Jones movies, then of course you've seen it. It is of course going to be known as the common garter snake. Yeah. No. This is an Asiatic cobra. It's also known as a monocled cobra. When I bring a cobra out, people usually think of a snake charmer that plays its flute, or a snake that seems to be swaying back and forth to the rhythm of the music. Like all snakes, this cobra doesn't have any ears. It's just listening to the music, or it's not listening to the music, it's following the motion of the snake charmer as he himself sways back and forth. This cobra's hood is, of course, the most iconic part about this animal. Their hood is formed by erecting these really long ribs in their neck region. They do that in order to make themselves, hey, get down. They do that in order to make themselves appear much larger, much more intimidating. Personally, I think that's very effective. So it stays in the box for the show. Now, cobra's strike is very different from almost any other snake strike in the world. It's kind of weird. They'll do their hood real high up, and then do this like forward and downward motion. It's really slow for a snake. It's so slow, in fact, a fully alert person can very easily be able to come on stage, get this cobra out of the box, get within his striking distance, allow him to strike, and then just easily avoid being bitten. Can I get a volunteer from the audience? Yeah, put your hands down. Put your hands down. That's how you die of a venomous snake bite. No, but in all seriousness, every snake that we have here that we say is venomous is venomous. You don't take their fangs out. If you rip their fangs out of their teeth, they can't eat, they'll die. We don't surgically remove their venom glands. It's very complex, expensive surgery. We have 80 cobras. We prefer to just not get bit. But things happen. We move these cobras all the time. They do not live in this box. He's working right now. This is his show box. We change the cobra every day. We clean their waters, obviously. We have to clean up their food. We feed them. If someone were to get bit by specifically one of these Asiatic monocled cobras here at the Reptile Gardens, you really need to be at the hospital within about 10 minutes from getting bit, receiving anti-venom treatment, or else really bad things start to happen to you, as in your organs start to shut off.
Wow.
Luckily for us here at Reptile Gardens, we do have a hospital about 11 minutes away. So, now, another frequently asked question we get asked when we are handling venomous snakes is, how do you tell the difference between a venomous and a non-venomous one? There's a lot of things you're going to hear, a lot of things people say. Unfortunately, most of them are either pretty misleading or not true. Some of the most common ones you hear can be like shape the head, triangular shaped head, that means a venomous snake. A round or oval head means a non-venomous snake. Rounded head, highly venomous snake. You also hear shape the pupil, cat's eye pupil venomous, round pupil non-venomous. Rounded pupil, very venomous. You also hear colors and patterns. The coral snake rhyme, black with yellow killflower or whatever it is. That works here in the United States. Second, you go down to South America, their coral snake colors are flipped. So, there's always an exception to every single rule out there. There's almost no way to distinguish between a venomous or a non-venomous snake unless you just know what the snake is. There is one way though. It works every time. It's not that hard. You do have to be by the snake though. So listen up. If you see the snake, just reach your hand right down from its face. When it bite you, if you die, it was venomous. So, yeah, it's probably just a lot safer, a lot easier for everyone to just learn about which venomous snakes are in the areas where you live, where you plan to visit. If you guys are visiting South Dakota, from out of state or anywhere else, you don't need to worry about the snakes down in South Africa. You can just learn about the one dangerously venomous snake we have here in South Dakota. Most South Dakotans do know what it is, and most are aware that it's really only found on this side of the river. If you go East River, you don't really see it. It is, of course, known as the prairie rattlesnake. The prairie rattlesnake is a very common but secretive snake here in South Dakota. Many people will live their entire lives in our state, never actually see one. So I figured why not let you see one here. Obviously, it's a very friendly rattlesnake. He's wagging his tail at these kids right here. And no. As of course, the rattlesnake's unique tail appendage, it's rattle. We all know what we figure out if we go down there and we count the number of segments on his rattle, right? Yeah, we figure out what a venomous snake bite feels like. If you want to find out how old this snake is, you gotta ask him when his birthday was, because a rattlesnake gains a new segment onto its rattle every time it sheds its skin. It can shed its skin from 0, 10, 1, 6, anywhere in between times in the year. They break off all the time. They're just made the same thing. Our fingernails are made of keratin. I've got one right here. It's not a rattle. There's just these hollow segments interlocking. It's not a maraca. They don't have beads in it. And I can try as hard as I want. I can shake it as violently as I can right into the mic. I can never get it as loud as this rattlesnake can get his rattle, because rattlesnakes have a specialized muscle kind of right there at the end of their tail where that black part is, that allows them to shake their tail like 20 times in a second. Now, people also think a rattlesnake is always going to rattle before it strikes. Yeah, that's true until it strikes first and rattles later. The two are not dependent upon each other. Many snakes, both venomous, non-venomous, with a rattle, without a rattle, shake their tail when they feel threatened, not just rattlesnakes. Also, I don't know of any animal in the entire animal kingdom that needs permission from its butt to bite you. So, now we all know what to do if we're in the wild and we hear that sound, right? What do? Run! Usually run! Run away is the most common answer I get when I ask that question. However, that's really not the first thing or the best thing you should do. If you said that or done that, do not feel bad. That's not the worst answer I've ever heard. The worst answer I've ever heard when I asked that question was the first time I was doing snake shows. There's a little girl, she sat right there. She goes, "Stop, drop, and bold." Please don't do that. But again, if you do that sound and you simply run, you might run right into that snake. That is not going to make it very happy. Best thing for you to do, don't move. Movement attracts his attention. Movement can be threatening. He simply just doesn't want to be stepped on. The best thing for you to do is to freeze. Locate the snake, move in the opposite direction. Now, some people are okay with a few feet between them and a venomous snake. Some people would probably prefer a few miles. But suppose you were one to select be the one to try and capture, kill him, poke him, prod him, take him as a pet. By all means, go for it. Don't blame him for what happens next. No. More people are bitten trying to capture and kill venomous snakes than by simply leaving them alone. This much distance between you and a venomous snake is plenty of room. You can get all the pictures you want right here. And if you feel like you need to kill every venomous snake you see, you don't have to. There's a reason they're here. They're supposed to be here. They do us a great service in getting rid of rodents. Like it or not, they do us a great service in nature. Now, unfortunately, this is the last snake that I can bring out for you guys today. But before I end the show, I would like to say a couple things. First of all, hope you all learned something and enjoyed. I am going to bring out the Burmese python I brought out earlier for you all to pet. You do have to pet a snake before you leave the reptile gardens. Kind of like a rule here. I have no problem chasing you around the parking lot with it. So, you guys have been a wonderful audience to do if you've enjoyed the Reptile Garden Snake Show.